Hello, everyone. I'm Zelda Kelly, and I wanted to bring you this story. I know you like to hear a lot of my stories, so, I thought I would just give you an idea of this story in particular. You see, in 2020, a friend of mine who is married emailed me and said his wife hadn't been feeling well. He had a business trip in Florida. They are actually from another state where I am and hundreds of miles away from me. So there's not any, um, there wasn't any ability for me to visit and vice versa. So, interestingly enough, he did say that his wife was, she was ill, but he didn't really go into anything. And then all of a sudden, I didn't hear from him for, quite some time. I started to worry. I started to wonder what was going on. And he wrote to me then finally and said that his wife had been very ill and could not get into the doctor. The doctor was out of town, so they decided to go to one of these pharmacies that have a well, a little like a doctor's office that has a practitioner, maybe even a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant in the pharmacy. So they went there. She got medication and she went back home. The next day, she was worse and it was treacherous. And she couldn't hardly move. The following day, her doctor was back in the office and agreed to see her immediately. And when she got into the doctor's office, he told her, "It's a good thing that you came and came when you did, because otherwise, I can tell you, you wouldn't be sitting here." He said, "You need to go to the emergency room right now. You do not go home and you do not hesitate." So they called an ambulance to where she was, or they were at the doctor's office. So lo and behold, they go from the ambulance. The husband follows the ambulance over to the emergency room. So what happens? She was in the emergency room and she flatlined. And it was very treacherous. And what they found out was that the pharmacy assistant, physician's assistant, or the nurse practitioner, I don't know what it was not a doctor on duty, gave her wrong medicine. Now, they had to sign a waiver anyway by going to one of those places, so they didn't have any recourse. So, did she pass away? No, they were actually able to revive her. And she was really in such a bad way that they had to keep her in a comatose state in order for them to treat her and get these drugs out of her system and help her to really get better. The sad part is that just over the course of a few days, the drugs that she had been taking, which were the wrong drugs, did a lot of damage to her system, did a lot of damage to, I believe, her pancreas and her liver, and it was dire straits. In fact, it was so bad that the husband called me and emailed me and told me that the doctor said there was no hope and that, well, they were planning on pulling the plug of the life support that was keeping her alive. It was very sad, and he asked me to pray for her, and of course I was going to, and I did. So I was working that night, and actually until about 3 o'clock in the morning on a particular psychic line. And my shift was over at about 3 a.m. My son was in his room. And I just wanted to just meditate through the day, through the calls. And I laid down for a little bit on the sofa in the living room. Now, I heard a noise in the hallway, and there's a hall bathroom there, and I have just a little night light that plugs into the wall. And I heard this noise. And when I opened my eyes, there was her. She was standing in the hall. Well, my first thought was, oh my gosh, she has passed. They didn't even pull the plug. She's passed away. And I couldn't speak. I just kept looking at her, and she looked at me, and her mouth, she was trying to talk. So she was talking like this. Of course, nothing was coming out, and I couldn't read her. Now, this all was happening so fast that I started questioning, is this really real? Am I seeing this? Am I sleeping? Am I just having a vision? What is this all about? But it was very real, and I was very awake. Now, the next thing that happened, I've never seen before in all my years of being an intuitive, empath, psychic, whatever you want to call it. I've never seen this before. All of a sudden, it was just in a flash, she went from standing to down on her hands and knees. Now, the position she was in, her hands were like this in front of her. Her elbows were up in the air, and her legs behind her were up in the air, almost like a spider position. Her stomach was like on the floor, and her arms and legs were up. I have never seen a contortion like this in my life. I knew it was something that she had done in order to get my attention, and believe me, she certainly did. The next thing that happened was, I don't know, and I'm positive that if you're watching this, I know that you've seen a lot of these, well, horror flicks, scary movies, where when somebody is walking through, they jerk like this. They jerk. And whoever does that, whoever came up with that in the movies, must have seen that or had experienced that, because that is exactly what she did. She went from doing this, and I have chills now even thinking about it, moving from the hall, and it was quick right up to me. I was laying on the sofa on my left side, looking at this in almost disbelief, thinking, am, am I dreaming? What am I seeing? Because it was very clear, and the light that I saw was seeing this. Next thing you know, she was from the hall, and did all of this movement and came right up to me and was right on my ear. Now, she was trying to communicate to me, was whispering in my ear, was I've never experienced anything like that. I could not understand what she was saying, but she was so close that I could feel her breath on my ear. No kidding. When she crawled, when she crawled like that, I knew it was her. And I knew that, believe me, she was not gone. Just by the way she was handling herself. She was trying to get my attention, like I said, and believe me, she certainly did. What happened next was just a flash, because I welled up because I couldn't speak. It was almost as though something was just holding me back. I couldn't speak. It was close to being frightening. And lo and behold, when I saw all this, she came up to me, and the first thing I did was, oh my gosh, are you okay? You're going to be okay. I know you are. And I raised up and tried to yell for my son, who was in the next room, and nothing would come out. So finally, I rallied. She was gone. She disappeared just as quick as she appeared. And the next thing, I grabbed my laptop and I wrote him an email that said, don't pull the plug. Don't ask me why. Don't pull the plug. There's another way. She's not ready to go. Don't pull the plug. So the next morning, first thing, he saw this. What happened later was that he called another hospital right away in their town, and they said, yes, bring her over. Well, they brought her over there, and the doctor was looking her over in the consultation. What he said next was uncanny. He said, I can tell that she doesn't want to go. And if I were you, there's no reason to pull the plug on her. Don't do it. Let's work through this. Let's see if she recovers. Fast forward, she recovered. Now she had to go through many, many months of, reconstructive therapy. She had to learn how to talk again, walk again, how to eat. She couldn't stay by herself. Her husband had to stay by her side. She couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. She wasn't allowed to drink any type of alcohol whatsoever, nothing. She had to watch her diet. It was all really retraining herself and getting her back to the way she used to be. I wanted to share that with you because I think it's important that sometimes these things come to us to impress upon us that maybe sometimes we need to pay attention, and we need to pay attention what's going on with people around us that we love. Don't discount the ability of the spirit and of the psychic mind to reach out when you need help, because that certainly happens. And believe me, this is a circumstance, and I'll never forget this. This is something that I will never, ever forget. So I wanted to share that with you. I have other stories of, things very similar. I'll be able to share with you, and I'll be glad to do that. And I want to thank you for being here and thank you for listening. If you please will like and follow me, I'd appreciate it. And as always, I'll bring you more very, very soon. So thanks so much for listening. You can find me over at psychicsecrets.com if you'd like a personal reading. And you can find me on social media at Psychic Zelda Kelly. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you again next time. I hope you get some sleep tonight.